And here with Greenbrier East, Lucas Lemine, coach of the state champion. I know that must sound good to you, Coach.
Yeah.
State champion Greenbrier East boys soccer program. First of all, Coach, how are things going heading in? I know you had a lot of losses, but what's it been like 9 months after winning that state championship for you?
We just continued to work. Boys didn't take too much time off. They either trained on their own or they're training with a club, whether it be Legacy or VBR. So we have a lot of kids that are continuing to play, continuing to train. We had a good 3-week period. We're going to start up our flex days next week so they can roll right into the season, just give us a head start on conditioning. But for the most part, we've just continued the same, build a schedule, look at the players that we have, look at where we need to improve, and get to work. The coaches haven't stopped. The coaches, we have a coach chat, and it's never stopped.
You told me that you had 4 specific position-specific players of the year in their position in the state. 3 of those are gone. You got 1 back, which is your goalkeeper, your keeper, Joe Cochran. I don't think anybody loses that kind of talent, do they?
We say it every year with G-Dub and Hurricane and even Parkersburg and Woodrow. They lose a ton of players, but they always seem to just instantly reload. We're losing 8 seniors, 7 of which were starters. All 8 were starters at some point. They were all contributing players. Obviously the 3 that won the position-specific players of the year were guys that were in the lineup every day, no matter what. Even if they had a little knock, they were playing. So it's a huge loss.
And those players, Adam Seams obviously was the defender. Who else were?
So Adam Seams was the defender of the year. He also recently got named Gatorade Player of the Year. Chase Mejia was midfielder of the year. Luke Dolan was forward of the year, to go along with Joe, who is returning, who was goalie of the year.
Well, to have Joe Cochran back, that has to be at least a good starting point for you. Here's a kid who had 15 clean sheets last year, didn't allow a goal. I think he only gave up 15 goals all season. When you look at him, that must be a nice starting point, because you're not really going to have to go out and outscore people in a sport where scoring is at a premium anyway,
right,
or a minimum.
Being able to have Joe back there gives us the ability to do a lot more things that other teams can't. It's like having another field player, because he's just as good with his feet as most of our more technically gifted players that play in the field. And that doesn't even start to talk about his shot stopping ability, which is excellent. Whether it's close range or long range, he's excellent at reading the ball and making the right decision. So yeah, it's something that we can build off of, and we're obviously excited that he's back to give us another year.
And he really kind of put you guys into the position to win the state championship. I think maybe in the regional against GW when he stopped the penalty kick.
Yeah.
It was really almost point blank range.
Yeah.
I mean, talk about that play, and that had to be one of the best ones you've seen all year.
Yeah, well, I knew we weren't going to lose. There was a culmination of things that went into that, and I think Adam's response to giving up the foul, there was no way, with the turmoil that had gone down the previous 2 years and losing in penalties, and Adam being a big part of that, I knew that wasn't how we were going to go out. So I had all the faith in the world that Joe was going to make that save. And Aiden Holbrook, excellent player. I was nervous when he picked up the ball. But kind of the things that just happened around Aiden at that time, and then looking at Joe and his confidence, he went straight up to Adam and he told him, I'm going to save it. It's okay. Get over it. We're going to move on. And he did. And Joe's a good leader and just a super good kid. So I had all the confidence in the world that he was going to save that.
When did you know that he was going to be a special keeper? Was there any? Because he told me he used to play, in other positions on the field. He wasn't always just a goalie.
Yeah, he started for us since he was a freshman. So coming in to be able to start in that type of high intensity environment for varsity, going against the best competition in the state as a goalie, where a lot of the pressure is put on you. When your 10 guys in front of you don't do their job, you're the last line of defense. And he showed out his freshman year, so we knew we had something really positive as the first day he was in camp.
What can he do for an encore? I mean, you can, because it's mathematically possible, but you're talking about playing some of the top teams in the state, and he's going to have to, if he had 15 clean sheets, shutouts last year, I mean, what can he do for an encore?
We don't talk about that. I mean, we just want Joe to go out and be Joe. We try to make sure that we don't put ourselves in shoes from the past. We want to live in the present, and that's what we do for Joe. Nothing's going to change. You know, we're Greenbrier East. We have a stigma about us that other people just don't like us. Whether we can be the nicest people in the world or the most respectful individuals when we go to other people's places, people just don't like us. They come after us, and that's not going to change. We're going to get everybody's best shot, whether we had won it last year or not. Nothing's going to change. So we're just going to ask Joe to go out and continue to do his work like he does every day, just like we'll ask the rest of the program and the coaches. We're just going to go about our business.
Well, you mentioned Woodrow and G-Dub and how their propensity for reloading, because they have been able to do it. Well-coached teams, they do reload. They don't necessarily rebuild. You look around the state, and you've seen just about everyone, and certainly played two teams that you wouldn't normally in the state tournament. Who do you think are some of the teams to beat this year?
Well, Wheeling Park, they lose, I think, one guy, or maybe a couple.
That's another team that kind of reloaded.
But, I mean, they're absolutely excellent. They'll have one of the best players in the state. George Washington, with C.J. Napper being eligible this year, and I know there's another individual that'll be eligible to play this year for them that transferred. They're going to be unreal. Their attack, and I've already talked to Coach Engel about this, their attack is going to be on a college level, playing the best high schools in the state. They're going to be legit attacking. Woodrow was very young last year, but that's the most athletic Woodrow team I've ever seen. They fly, they're fast, they never quit. They're going to be super tough. Oak Hill with a good young coach coming in. Blake, he played for Oak Hill. He played when I was coaching. One of the first few years I was coaching, he was a player there. So he knows what he's doing, and he's got a passion about that program because he played there. Princeton, just talking about our section, Princeton's going to be solid. They always are. They just have a knack for being a good team, maybe even if they don't have the technically gifted soccer players. They have kids that run forever. You
chase this and chase this
Yep.
To get to where you're at as a defending state champions. Make it different going in this year, you think?
No, I'm just more hungry. Now that we finally tasted what it's like to be the team that's on top, I want to do it again. It's like, you go golfing and you hit your best shot on 18 always, so it makes you want to come back to play golf even though you play terrible for 17 holes. It's the same feeling. We want more. We don't want to stop where we're at. We're not satisfied. I know the coaching staff hasn't stopped with our research, the way we watch video, the way we plan for practices. Nothing's changed from us. We want to continue to be very successful.
We talked about some of the losses. Who are some of the guys coming back, guys that you have some you're going to rely on this year?
Well, obviously Joe, and we've talked a lot about him. Peter Furlong is another senior. We changed his position last year, and he ended up being a really good player. I think we're going to change his position again this year. He's just a solid player. He gives us everything. He's got a great motor.
Where's he going to go to now? I mean, what was the change, and where is he going back to what he played before?
We don't know for sure yet. We're going to give him a couple looks. We are going to have a couple scrimmages during our flex days, and then a couple scrimmages in the preseason, and we're going to continue to move him around. We were hoping he could play in a defensive midfield position. We don't necessarily know that that's the best fit for him or our program, so he may move elsewhere. We're going to give him looks in several different places. Another player that I brought with me today is Will Godby. He's a kid with a super high motor. He never stops running. He just never stops, and he was a big difference in the second half of our season last year and putting him in positions that can make not only himself successful but our program successful. We have a couple of other people. Noah Edwards, who was a starter as a freshman last year, and he's going to end up being a 4-year starter for me if he stays. He's a very high IQ soccer player, and he's big as a mountain and strong as an ox. As a freshman last year, you'd see seniors flying at him and just bounce off. He's a super strong kid, and his skill is very high level for just a sophomore. We did get a transfer in from Nicholas County, which is Ian Gadd, who scored 37 goals last year for Nicholas County and had 21 assists, and he's phenomenal. His technical ability is very high. He's got a very high soccer IQ. He plays for a great club. He's currently in England playing with his club, so he's a kid that's going to make a difference.
Yeah, they know a little bit about soccer over there. They're football, I guess.
Yeah, they know a little bit.
What's this kid's name again?
Ian Gadd.
Ian Gadd. So I guess we'll look for some things from him too.
Oh yeah, he's gonna be a standout for us.
What's the biggest compliment since the state championship that you received? You get a call from somebody, or it's just a comment?
I mean, I can't tell you how many people reached out, whether it was former coaches or guys I played college baseball with or college soccer with, and they really haven't stopped. I mean, I saw somebody, I went to play golf a week ago, and I saw a guy that I hadn't seen, and he said, "Congratulations on your state tournament." So it's not something that this community is forgotten. So I can't say for sure. There's just been too many.
Well, I mean, the outpour, the support you had, and not granted, it was just in Beckley and other places. I think you played teams that had to travel a little bit more than you did, but still, the outpour, the support you had there had to be big.
It was unbelievable. And I grew up here, and I don't know that I ever missed a sporting event if it wasn't my sport. I played 3 sports in high school, but I made sure that I was active in supporting other programs. But the community support is something that I have not seen for any sport here for what we had for our run. It was unbelievable. The outpour from our community and the support we had, it was incredible.
You were a college baseball player and soccer too. Did you ever think about think you would be a soccer coach?
Yeah.
Is that something that you wanted to do?
Yeah, I always wanted to coach. I never knew what I wanted to coach. I think I decided what I wanted to do my senior year of high school. I tore everything in my left knee, and that soccer was taken away from me. So I knew from that point on I either wanted to go professional or come back and give back to the community that gave me so much. So that's what I did.
Was that an option for you? Were you that good in high school? Did you?
I tried out for 3 professional baseball teams when I was in high school, and I had 4 of the 5 tools. I'm not a very big guy, so I couldn't hit for power, and that's what they were always looking for.
And still are, it looks like.
And still, yeah, that's not going to change. But in soccer, I had guys coming in from other places. For instance, a good buddy, Andy Gonay, he's from Scotland. The first time I ever met him at practice, he just flat out asked me why I was here. I said, "What are you talking about?" He said, "You can go over to Scotland any day of the week and get on an academy team and develop and eventually play in pros." But I was
2 options then as a potential professional athlete.
I never made it, but yeah.
Well, I mean, still, there's a lot of people who wouldn't have been in that position.
Right.
I guess injury was probably in a bad time.
Yeah. But I wouldn't change anything. At the time I met Andy, and he told me that I was already with the woman I knew I was going to marry. She was in college at that time. We have 2 wonderful children. We have a wonderful life. I would not change anything.
Oh, you can't beat that. I mean,
No.
there's probably a lot of professional athletes not happy, but
Yeah.
we would ask ourselves, how can that be? But
Oh yeah.
do you feel like you've got this program now at a spot where you're going to be like the teams you mentioned, Woodrow Wilson, George Washington, like where you feel like with the way your guys are working with their clubs, you got a guy playing in England, for goodness sakes. I mean,
Yeah.
you feel like you got a program now you can reload?
We hope so. I think we're deeper this year than we were last year. I think we have better athletes this year than we did last year. But the difference is, and this was when I first came to this, we had amazing athletes 9 years ago. We didn't have soccer players. I think we're kind of shifting back where last year we had 11 or 12, maybe 13 solid soccer players. This year, I think we are a little bit deeper just because we are a little bit more athletic, but the technique is something that we need to build on. We're going to be really good. We're going to challenge everybody we play against. We're not getting blown out by anybody. And we really think as a coaching staff and in our program with our players, we have the opportunity to repeat what we did last year, and that's what we're striving for.
You ever think about what life might be like if you'd been a pro?
No, I don't waste my time with that. I just focus on where I am.
Good answer. Hey, Coach, I appreciate the time and good luck this season. Looking forward to getting it started.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.